Assassin's Creed franchise centers around a guy named Desmond Miles. He lives in the year 2012. He has been, at least as far as the first game is concerned, kidnapped by a company known as Abstergo Industries, ostensibly a pharmaceutical multinational corporation. It's revealed that they are in fact a modern-day front for the secret society of Templars. He discovers that he himself is a member of the Assassin's Brotherhood, which is another secret society in our universe. They are using him to hunt for something referred to as the Piece of Eden, utilizing a machine known as the Animus, which lets you visit the memories of your ancestors and relive them. So in the first game, he relived the memory of a guy named Altair, who lived during the Third Crusade. And at the start of our game, Assassin's Creed 2, which I don't think I want to spoil exactly how we get to it, he's going to be reliving the memories of a second ancestor, a guy named Ezio Auditore da Firenze. Both of his ancestors are also, assassins. Altair was a professional assassin, master assassin, and Ezio, much like Desmond, is sort of new to this, and so the two of them are going to go on this journey of sort of discovery and training together. Assassin's Creed 2 begins exactly where Assassin's Creed 1 ended, inside Desmond's bedroom, inside Abstergo, staring at a wall of symbols that have been left by a previous subject. We'll actually learn the meaning of those symbols throughout AC2, among other things. So yeah, the second game begins exactly where the first one ended. One of the things that we've decided to do for the second game, though, is give Desmond more to do in the present, so he won't just be slowly walking around a single room, occasionally talking to people and, sometimes stealing pens and computer passcodes. Can't get into too many details yet, but he will be able to run and jump and perhaps some other stuff. And he may or may not leave Abstergo and journey to new places. He will, again, be entering a new Animus, so not the same one from the first game, but again, anything else would be spoilers. One of the main pillars of the Assassin's Creed franchise, I hope, is that we tend to try and be as historically accurate as possible, and obviously within reason, because fun and gameplay and the game itself have to come first. So this time around, before I even started writing, I spent about a year just doing research. At the very beginning of the project, a group of 6 of us actually went to Italy for 10 days. We visited Florence, Venice, Rome, and several small cities in the Tuscan countryside. And then once that was done, I returned to Montreal, began just doing a ton of research, reading a shit ton of, am I allowed to swear? Nonfiction books, only nonfiction books because we don't want to stray into, potentially murky legal waters, and then consulting with historians. And we worked with a woman who is a historian on staff at Notre Dame. We worked with localization departments in Italy to ensure that any dialogue or Italian that appears in the game is both accurate and pronounced properly. Even the voice actors themselves, we had dialect coaches on hand in case the actors weren't Italian so that they could coach them in how to pronounce words properly.
Insieme per la vittoria!
Insieme!
Insieme!
Enough of your nonsense, Grullo!
So one of the big things for us as we started to learn more and more about the Renaissance is that most people associate it with very positive things, an explosion in knowledge, art, architecture, science, the humanities. And while all of that is true and all of those things, happened and they were great and wonderful, there's a whole nother side to the story when it comes to the Renaissance. It was actually a relatively dark period of time. There was constant state of warfare, both between the various Italian city-states and other countries like Spain and France. What you also see happening a lot during the time of the Renaissance is the birth of banking and commerce, and so with it all of the negative stuff that goes with it, like corruption and market manipulation and thievery.
Search them. There's bound to be something in their pockets.
A lot of the things that we're dealing with today in modern society with our big corporations and shady politicians, a lot of this stuff was sort of born out of the Renaissance because people were finding new ways to make money, and so it meant they were also finding new ways to cheat. And so there were a lot of really interesting and sort of dark moments that we were able to play with, and we really embraced that as we were crafting the story and building the world. So we weren't just going to celebrate what was good, we were also going to shine the light on some of the stuff that wasn't as good, because it's still relevant today. A lot of these sort of crimes and excesses are still going on. So there's a real parallel between both periods of time. What we've tried to do this time around, and I think we've gotten better at it than in the first game, is gameplay and narrative really do begin to merge together, because a lot of times what we'll do is we'll tell the story as you play. And in order to do that, I can't just generate pages, turn them in, and hope for the best. I have to work hand in hand with game designers and level designers and the cinematic directors. And so ideally we're working towards something where one doesn't start, where the other ends, but they both journey on a path like together. So it'll be anything from finding ways to deliver action sequences while still allowing the player to remain in control, to just coming up with different techniques for delivering story bits. If it's, what we call walk and talk, which is where you'll walk with an NPC or, in some cases run or chase an NPC to a location, we find new ways to deliver story information like while this is going on.
You really are the devil.